Hello, awesome people. I hope you're having a great day today. Today we're taking a look at a 10-page short story called Imaginary Countries in this Ursula K. LeGuin giant collection of fiction with 39 short stories and 700 pages. So it's going to be a while to knock it out. It's only 10 pages long. It's actually the fourth short story, and some of these are actually a little longer, but it's the second one that we've knocked out for you folks. It's actually pretty fun. I definitely enjoyed it, but it's actually not in the science fiction or fantasy genres that she's known for, with her Wizard of Earthsea series, young adult fiction, or her science fiction stuff that won Hugos, like the previous short story that we read in this collection, The Ones Who Walk Away from Omelas. Doesn't have this one, Imaginary Countries, doesn't have a surprise-like ending, that actually shows that it's in a different genre that we typically cover here, like fantasy, science fiction, or war, and yet I'm still going to review it. And why? Well, because I often do that for big names in genres. For example, Robert E. Howard, one of the most influential names who's ever written fantasy, has, with his Conan the Barbarian stuff, hugely influential. He also wrote some more stuff in the Cthulhu mythos too. He wrote some boxing short stories. In fact, he has more characters from his boxing point of view character than he does from Conan. So, and he was an amateur boxer, so you know what you're right. Huh? So I did boxing short stories. Nobody said, "Abe, why are you reviewing Robert E. Howard's boxing short stories?" Similar, Robert E. Howard has a review of a short story that I've done for you in one of his key characters, and in the pulp era. And then this character has a short story in it called The Scarlet Flame of Vengeance, which actually doesn't have any fantasy elements. It's right all of a sudden. Again, no pushback. Also, a big horror name, Shirley Jackson, that I did a deep dive into her Dark Tales collection from Penguin Classics. Also had some short stories in it that weren't, and she's a big name in horror fiction with the lottery and her novels like The Haunting of Hill House, one of her classics, and probably one of the most read and beloved war novels of all time, right? So anyway, that's Shirley Jackson. So again, I am going to go ahead and review this short story. It's definitely more of a wistful feel to it, particularly at the end, and I definitely enjoyed it. But it was a little more description than plot. There's just not a lot of plot here, which is something you typically want in a short story. So I'm only going, and while this was well written, I'm only going to be giving this a 7 out of 10. Not anything more, because again, it's probably just too much description and not enough plot, right? And it probably felt like it was a little too long. So anyway, so that's my thought on this short story. So let's go ahead and do a quick little deep dive into it. As a reminder, my reviews are spoiler-free. So in case you've never read Imaginary Countries, or had never heard of Ursula K. LeGuin, or you've never read anything by her, or you're starting out this collection, which I'll link you to in the comments below. So anyway, let's take a quick look at this short story. So we're going to be opening up, and we're going to find out that this couple that lives is going to be moving to another location. So we're going to be investigating their moving. And we're going to find out that they have a few children that are different ages. They have named the house Asgard, and the children are playing various stories that are based on myth and legend. And the daughter is has a unicorn trap that she's trying to catch her unicorn in, and so forth. And then our main character is, we're going to talk to some of the other characters, but our main point of view character is an assistant for the professor who runs the house, and he's also a baron too. And so we'll be following along with him, the assistant, and his thoughts, his conversations, and so forth. So there you are. That's like 3 or 4 pages into a 10-page short story, so I'm not going to spend too much time with it further. But there you are. I'll go ahead and leave you to that review for you folks. Again, the key concepts of this channel are to do older reviews for you folks, because the channel's name is The Worst Thing About New Books. A quote by a French philosopher from Jacques Joubert, who said that the worst thing about new books was that they kept us from reading the old ones. And Ursula K. LeGuin, a big name in the 60s and 70s, is definitely decades and decades ago, so it's definitely an older thing like that. So that's one of the reasons why I really like her stuff. She's also very, very heavily influential For example, in modern fantasy, because of Harry Potter, everybody has young adult fantasy works with children's schools, right? Well, she started that with her Wizard of Earthsea series, right? That convention of what that looks like. Although she doesn't get any accolades. I don't remember an interview with J.K. Rowling that says, "Oh yeah, I got that idea from Ursula K. LeGuin. I read Earthsea when I was a kid," or something like that, or I heard about it, you know. But anyway, so she's created that genre. She's also a huge name in the science fiction world, too, with lots of Hugo-winning things. And I've also reviewed 2 novels by her, too. One, The Left Hand of Darkness, which I read about 4 or 5 years ago and did a review for you folks a couple of years ago. And then a short story that I read, a novel rather, that I read for this channel that was on my bucket list called The Lathe of Heaven. So I also did that one, too. Loved it. It's my favorite thing that she's read that I've not. So I really liked it a lot too. So there you are. So that's why we're doing a deep dive into Ursula K. LeGuin. So let's go ahead and move on. Have you read this short story? If so, what'd you think about it? Did you agree or disagree with my 7 out of 10? Let's talk about it in the comments below. If you want to talk about spoilers or endings or whatever, hey, let's do it. If you enjoyed this, why not hit that subscribe button? There should be a lot more of these to follow. And then finally, I want to thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and investing it and watching my video. We all have so many things that are happening in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions. So the fact that you spent this time with me is incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it. So thanks again, and have an amazing day.